Hi, my name's Karl Latham. I'm here from the Percussive Arts Society Education Committee, and I'd like to welcome you today to this Friday Fundamental session. I'm a professional drum set performer. I played with a lot of different artists in a variety of styles, Grammy-winning artists, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame artists, all kinds of different styles of music. I've played in jazz, Latin jazz, Brazilian jazz, funk, R&B, Motown, rock, country even. I'm trying to think avant-garde, kind of everything but hip-hop. And what I'd like to create for you today is a video that beginning drummers can utilize or educators can utilize to kind of introduce some topics to beginning drummers. These may be some things you may see in a jazz band chart in middle school or in high school. I'm going to go over some basic rock drumming techniques. I'm going to go over some basic, not really funk, but a little bit of funk. I'm going to go over really basic Brazilian grooves, some basic Afro-Cuban grooves, some blues, a really basic way to look at 4/4 jazz time playing. Just a really brief introduction, but something you can think about over the summer. Okay, so let's jump right in. And thank you for being here. Now I'd like to jump right in and talk about playing the bass drum. I get a lot of questions about how do I execute playing the bass drum. Well, I use three primary methods. I play flat foot, which is heel down, and I'll often play that in quieter situations where I don't need to generate a lot of volume. I'll play heel up with my toe, and I kind of use my ankle as if I would use my wrist, like kind of riding a bicycle. And I also play a double stroke, which is very similar to the way I play a double stroke when I'm playing it on the drum set on my hands. So let me demonstrate. Heel down, toe, and then some double strokes. Here's a quick exercise you can use either as a warm-up or to start developing your bass drum technique. You can play 4, 8, 12, and 16, and you alternate between your right hand and your foot and your left hand and your foot. And I'm going to play it flat foot first, and then heel, then toe up, toe first, toe second. Excuse me, it's a little early for me here. I sped up a little there at the end because I was thinking about the double stroke. Here's a quick exercise I use for the double stroke. Kind of throw it with my toe and I catch it with my heel. Something to think about. Hi, I'd like to jump right in with some eighth note rock beats. So if we're going to talk about eighth note rock beats, I'm going to play eighth notes on the hi-hat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'm going to add 2 and 4 in the snare drum. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 3 in the bass drum. Now we have a rock beat. Now, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 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 1 and 2 Pretty straight ahead basic rock beat. Boom, bap, boom, bap. If I add another eighth note, I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Boom, bap, boom, boom, bap. 2, 3. Play the same thing on the floor tom tom. Pretty straight ahead. So if I'm gonna play the bass drum on like boom bap boom boom bap like this. That's one feel. If I'm going to go boom, bap, boom, boom, that has kind of a different feel because it's going to the 1 and to the 3. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. If I'm going to go in between, I'm going to syncopate a little bit like boom, bap, boom. 1, 2, and 1, 2. All I did was I moved the eighth note across. Excuse me. Some allergies out here today. I can do the same thing on the floor tom. If I play quarter notes in the hi-hat instead of eighth notes, what I want you to think about also is the type of accents you're playing in the hi-hat. I did another video entirely on that. Now I'm going to play just a straight hi-hat part. Did you see the influence by changing the accent here? They're kind of 3 different beats to me that are also orchestrated on the ride. Some really basic things to think about when playing basic rock beats. You probably noticed I was hitting a crash. What I like to do is with my students is start marking the form right away. So I have them repeat a beat over and over again, 4, 8, 12, 16, 32, whatever it's going to be. And every 4 bars, mark the downbeat. One last thing I like to talk about really briefly is 4 on the floor. I'm going to play 4 quarter notes in the bass drum. Just something to think about. Now I'd like to start talking about coordinating the snare drum and the bass drum in between the hi-hat notes. I mean, here's a typical beat I think of right off of the top of my head. First of all, I was playing quarter notes in the hi-hat, not eighth, and all of those notes were falling in between. So I have to figure out, how do I coordinate that? So first I want to start just with eighth notes. Excuse me. So if we start with something simple like this. If I add one note at a time. Now I'd like to add some notes in between on the snare drum. I'm going to play those as ghosted notes. As you see, all those notes were falling in between. Just going back and forth between the hi-hat and the snare drum. So that's some coordinating in between. Now, coordinating at the same time. So I'd like to give you an exercise using paradiddles. This is an easy way to start coordinating at the same time. If I play a paradiddle, if I play the right hand on the hi-hat, left hand on the snare drum, right now I'm ghosting all the notes other than on the accents. You know, on the paradiddle, paradiddle. What I'm going to do is just start by adding the bass drum to each of the right hands. Pick it up a little bit. Hopefully we all know paradiddles. That's a good place to start. You could also do like a little loop. Single, double, triple paradiddle. Also like to do that one this way. Now I'd like to talk about playing 16-note rock beats with two hands. If we're going to alternate single strokes, and if you're a righty, you start with your right hand. If I go 1 E and the 2 E and the 4 E and the anytime I'm going to play the bass drum, as you see on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, it's going to fall with my right hand. If I'm going to play on the E of any of those counts, it's going to fall on my left hand. So if I play a beat that is comprised of playing everything on the 1 or the and, it's all going to fall on my right. As soon as I add something on the E or the it's going to fall on my left. It's going to require a little bit of concentration at first. So you really want to think about that left, right, left, right. And at first you're probably going to accent those. After a while, you won't accent them, and you want to be conscious of how you treat playing your bass drum with your hi-hat, because you don't want to create unintentional accents here, because you want to have the freedom to choose later. Another consideration is moving back and forth from the hi-hat to the snare drum, because in that motion, you have a tendency maybe to play the snare drum louder, or you have a tendency to play softer or louder when you're leaving the hi-hat to go to the snare, or coming back from the snare drum to the hi-hat. But first, try to play it as evenly as you can. Then later you want to choose. Now I'd like to talk about some blues styles. Playing a 12/8 blues, playing a shuffle. I'd also like to talk really briefly about playing the jazz 4/4 ride cymbal beat. So first we'll start with 12/8 blues. Why am I calling it 12/8 blues? Because we're going to play a measure of triplets in 4/4 time, which is often written as 12/8. Let me start. I'm going to use the measuring stick of the hi-hat. I'm going to add 2 and 4, and then I'll add bass drum. 1, 2. So that's a basic 12/8 blues. I'm going to do another video on fills, but if you notice, I play triplet fills because my feel was in triplets. Okay, now let's talk about a shuffle. Shuffle is really like one of the basic beats, so almost everything we do kind of comes out of shuffle. So we want to talk about the shuffle. The rhythm goes. It's written as 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4, but I think it was 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1, a 2, a 3. Again, 1 and 3, 2 and 4. If I start adding bass drum notes to it, kind of a rock shuffle. You can also shuffle. You hear oftentimes where you just play a quarter note ride cymbal, and the shuffles actually have it in the bass drum. Dun, 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 The only place I was shuffling there was in my bass drum. Another style of shuffle involves playing shuffle on the ride cymbal and also shuffling in your left hand. It's a little bit of a trickier coordination. I'm going to start by playing quarter notes here, and I'm going to shuffle in my left hand. Another way is playing shuffle in both hands. Some people call this a shuffle, where you're alternating between the hands. Kind of very common style is a halftime shuffle. So the snare drum will fall on 3 rather than 2 and 4. Let me see if I can play a Bernard Purdie shuffle, kinda. And nobody plays like Bernard Purdie. Not a great Bernard Purdie shuffle, but kind of I'm playing a lot of fill-in notes there. Something to think about. Okay, very briefly and very quickly on the jazz ride cymbal. This is a special topic to me because I play a lot of jazz in my professional career, and I'm currently studying actually with a great drummer myself right now. So this is kind of a lifelong quest, as are many styles. I want to talk about really basically thinking about the jazz ride cymbal. So what you want to think about is the time is going to occur between the ride cymbal and the hi-hat, not between the bass drum. What people will listen for the time is between the hi-hat and the ride cymbal, not the bass drum and the snare drum. Walk the dog and then add 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. Walk the dog, walk the dog, walk the dog, walk the dog, walk the dog. That's the place to start. Walk the dog, walk the dog, walk the dog, walk the dog. Once you've mastered that, you want to try to feather the bass drum. And by feather the bass drum, I mean playing the bass drum maybe an inch or 2 away from the head. I mean, I am using my EAD, so you probably will hear it because the microphone's right there. But if I was playing this in the room, you probably wouldn't hear the bass drum. I'm going to play it very quietly. I can then add 2 and 4 in the cross stick. Good place to start is really slowly with a metronome. Then maybe bump it up 5 or 10 clicks. Try to play maybe, if you really want to work on it, try like 5 minutes at one tempo, 5 minutes at another tempo, 5 minutes, and make sure you're relaxed and make sure that it's really even. That your walk the dog is coming out the same all the time. This is a whole lifetime exploration for me, so that's just going to give you a basic jazz beat that you can play if you see it on the chart. So I get a lot of questions on playing clave. I do play a good deal of Afro-Cuban, Latin jazz, and the first place to start is if we're going to talk about the clave. So I think everyone here in the room probably has heard a 3-2 clave. 3-2 is there's 3 hits in the first measure, 2 in the second. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. If I reverse that, it's a 2-3 clave. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I'd say raise your hand if you could tell me the name of that, but since you're not here, I'll just say that was sewn. Rumba is a 1-note difference. So let me play a 3-2 sewn and then a 3-2 rumba. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's the difference between son and rumba. So the first thing you want to work on when you're going to play this is you're going to want to work on playing the Cascada rhythm. So the Cascada rhythm goes like this. If I'm going to play in 3-2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1. Notice I'm employing that method of playing unaccented notes with the tip, accented notes with the shaft. But then it becomes a shape for me if I want to play it later. Cascada literally means playing on the shell of the timbale. So if I add that with clave, which is a little bit of a challenging coordination at first, you want to try to play the hand part by itself maybe. So I'd start with the clave maybe. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. The first thing I would add to that would be playing on the bombo note, which is on the and the 2 in the 3 part of the clave. Next, I start working on 2 bow, which is on the and the 2 and on 4. So I'm going to play that now. I'm going to add a hi-hat part on the upbeats. A really cool thing I do is a 2-handed clave. Well, not me, everyone that plays this. If I was going to maybe play behind like a conga player is playing a solo, I would add fill-ins in between the Cascada notes. Do little rolls in between, double strokes. So a really basic thing that you can do when you're playing a song is you could mimic the conga part. So I'm going to just slap in the open tone. I'll just play it on the snare for now. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Put that all together with a ride cymbal, be something like this. That is one Cascada part. I advise you to go look for Frankie Malabay's book, and you want to work on all of the different bell rhythms. You want to work on the bongo player's part. Don, bon, titi, bon, titi, bon, titi, bon. Work on mambo. You can coordinate all those parts with the bass drum and with the hi-hat. Talk about Sango. I'm going to play it in 2-3. It's a 2-3 rumba. You'll kind of see that on charts many times. typical. The last thing I'd like to talk about today are some really basic Brazilian styles. So two of the styles you'll probably see right away on your charts in jazz band will be either a bossa nova or a samba. Bossa nova is a really delicate beat. I'm going to play it. I'm going to like emulate a shaker part in my hi-hat. I'm going to play it really, really, really delicately and softly. I'm going to add a cross stick pattern in my left hand, and then I'm going to add the bass drum going boom, 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 kind of emulating a heartbeat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Here's a nice slow bossa nova. Played a couple of variations of partito alto that you could employ in your playing. Okay, so last thing I'd like to talk about here is how I have my students work on the boom, 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 boom when they're going to coordinate it with the ride cymbal when we're going to play samba. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about going left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. So we're going to play boom, 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 boom. We're going to add hi-hat on the upbeats. And I'm going to play the snare drum. Another pattern you can work on right away, which watch my right hand, that's where the accents are going to come out, is playing the tambourine pattern. So if I go back to the right-left and I start just migrating around, I'm going to play around on the tom-toms, I'm going to play kind of a batucada. If I'm going to play it on the ride cymbal, I'm going to start with going, which is more almost like a more jazz adaptation of playing a samba. I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. And I'm going to play a partito alto part in the left hand. Double stop that. Those are some really basic ideas to think about if you want to play a samba or a bossa nova. So I kind of really briefly ran over a lot of different topics today. There are so many resources available to develop these topics and expert drummers in the different styles that you can research these on your own. Please feel free to reach out to me. Karl Latham, very easy to find in the internet. And look out for other Percussive Arts Society fundamentals, for PAS classrooms, and all the other resources. Rhythm Scene, there's a lot of great stuff from Percussive Arts Society. And try to make it to PASIC sometime. I just started going to PASIC the last few years myself. My schedule never permitted it, my professional schedule. And it's just an amazing experience to be around the best guys in the world and to witness them demonstrating their craft and their art. Okay, so have a great summer, and I hope you have time to practice. And all you educators, enjoy the last little bit of your time off. And I will see you soon back in the classroom. All right, have a great day. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. It's a heartfelt gratitude for that. Thank you.